Cars, explosions, speed, anger. Fast and Furious is arguably one of the most stereotypical guy movie franchises to ever exist. And as a stereotypical girl, exactly the type of movie I avoid.
As if.
Until today. You see, while the mind-blowing, jaw-dropping speed of these movies doesn't interest me much, there is one thing that always has. Her. 90s supermodel Devin Aoki in Too Fast, Too Furious, with her hot pink car and Britney Spears / Christina Aguilera pants. She has lived on my Pinterest for the last decade, and I've always wondered, with costume design like this, could this movie be for me? And who's to say I won't like car explosions, speed, and anger if I've never given them the chance? Sports Car is a great song, and one of the most iconic moments in Twilight features a car. So in the spirit of curiosity, I watched the second Fast and Furious movie. Join me as we speed out of my comfort zone and see whether I greenlight watching another one.
Oh, should I write them a note?
To immerse myself in the Fast and Furious world, I did start with the marketing. I believe this is very integral to the movie viewing experience, and I also just love seeing how early 2000s movies tried to get people into the theater. And these theatrical poster designs are what I would call early 2000s relics. I love the chrome, I love how much this screams Hot Wheels nostalgia, but I would like to direct your attention to the tagline, which reads, "How fast do you like it?" This is the first of many times that we see cars used as sexual innuendos, but more importantly, I do think every character in this movie is aroused by being in an automobile. That will become a lot more clear as we go through the plot. To maintain my cluelessness, I did go into this movie blind. I did not look up the plot, but I did pre-record my plot predictions, which I will play for you now. Please enjoy. I think a story that would be very fitting for this type of movie would be that this man is just such a notoriously great street race driver that he is noticed by some sort of criminal organization who needs a getaway car chauffeur. And chaos ensues as he gets intertwined with illegal activity. And I could have sworn that Vin Diesel was supposed to be in here. Either I've hallucinated that entire thing, or they just missed him. The Y2K silliness does not stop at the marketing. It continues immediately upon clicking play. Case in point, the Universal logo turns into a metal wheel with the most aggressive 2000 sound effects and animation I have ever witnessed. And just 30 seconds later, the title card comes up like this. I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Wow, that was fantastic.
And this sets up my overall thoughts about Too Fast, Too Furious, which is that it is camp, and it is theater, and it is drama. We're in Miami, illegally closing roads so that they can street race. The camera is trying very hard to seduce me with car engines, but I'm distracted by the literal fashion show that is happening. We have all the girls here, VMA's Sabrina Carpenter, Motivation Normani, these neon plaid girls, even Disney's Pocahontas. I think the costume designer also really liked this top because another girl wears the exact same one at a club scene later, and I'm not mad about it. It's a very cute top. But most importantly, this dream of an outfit arrives on screen. I was thrilled that I got this so early on in the movie, and she looks just as incredible in live action as she does in 2D on my Pinterest. Already, we are off to an excellent start with this movie. The aesthetic of the overall setting is also a fantastic vibe. We have the Y2K Trinity here, breakdancing boomboxes and body glitter. All of these cars are so extra, and I love it. I feel like this Y2K maximalist style was so comforting, so nostalgic. Everything now is just beige and boring. What happens to this? Bring this back. Suki's car is my favorite. It has neon underlighting, fuzzy seats, this interesting Tamagotchi technology, and even her license plate glows. For a solid second, I did want to attend my own street race But then there's shots like these, and I'm like, never mind, I think I'll just stay home. You might be wondering, who are these people? These boys basically never appear again after this first scene, so they're completely irrelevant. This is Suki, and she's not important either, but she is here to save us from the boring fashion the boys wear, which pretty much consists of just different colored t-shirts. Very disappointed she does not get more screen time. They're missing a fourth racer, so the organizer Tej, played by 2000s rap icon Ludacris, calls our main character Brian O'Connor to join. Rest in peace to Paul Walker. I know he was a very important part of this franchise. It is very sad he is no longer with us. If you have the captions on, you'll see that Brian's nickname is Bullet, spelt with an I. I thought this was because he was too cool for the E, but I did look it up and it's just a reference to a 1968 movie.
They got deep pockets? Real deep.
This is code for they have money. Brian street races because he's poor, even though he has $3,500 in cash lying around. In fact, all of these guys do. Maybe this is just what millennials did for their side hustles back in the day. Eva Mendes is also here, looking stunning. You can tell she's the love interest from the longing stare she shares with Brian. Staring is Brian's love language. They actually have a staring contest while speeding in a car. And like I said, there is something very sexual about these cars every time they're in them. It should be a red flag that he's not looking where he's going while driving, but it does seem to work on her, so good for him.
I really like the conversation and that your car self-drives.
Finally, my first streetcar race. What an experience this was. In summary, it's about 5 minutes of the same 2 sounds and 3 shots just on a loop, and very loud. I really appreciated these camera moments. They just don't do wackiness like this in the cinema anymore, and I think they need to. The cars themselves not only look fantastic, but they all have personalities of divas. They all blow smoke, have turbo boost. They literally go into warp speed while driving, and fire. And if you think that that's crazy, we haven't even gotten to the ejection seats. Like I said, this is theater. This race is another great example of how when someone is in a car, it is just slightly arousing to them. Suki, for example, has very oddly sexual lines.
Bend over, boy.
But I think she's just externalizing the trauma from the bad pickup lines that she's had to endure, all of which are about, you guessed it, cars.
When you gonna pop my clutch, huh?
Hey, make sure you bring that body by the garage later, all right? So, you know, we can work on that front end of yours.
Brian wins, but the cops show up and disable his car with this electrical thing. For 2 seconds, I did think this was set in the future, but it turns out, nope, it's just fictional technology. Yes, I feel like this is the best transition for this scene. Just think of all the time and money that Brian had to use to deck his car out like this, and now it's completely ruined. That is very sad, and nothing says sad more than this. Especially because we get this bombshell.
We know you're Brian O'Connor, formerly of the LAPD.
Which would not be surprising if you've seen the first movie, but that means that all of these theatrics were just to recruit Brian for an FBI mission. They ruined his car when they could have just knocked on his door, and that's so rude. Notice how they said former LAPD, and that's because Brian helped a criminal evade authorities and is now in hiding. So they offered to clear his record in exchange for helping arrest Carter Verone, who is a notorious drug lord. All Brian needs to do is pose as a getaway driver. What can I say? I am so psychic. Although I didn't get the fact that he was working for the good guys, but he still sort of is working for criminals. Why they need Brian specifically for this job is unclear. I feel like a skilled driver with a fake identity wouldn't be too difficult to find in the FBI, but drama. I got kind of confused with the roles of these people when I watched the movie, so allow me to clarify for you. This guy is customs enforcement and he distrusts Brian. This guy is from the FBI and he likes Brian and apparently was in the first movie with him. This guy is supposed to be Brian's car partner, but he's as useless with cars as I am.
Could you tell me right quick what would be better motor for my Skyline, a Gallo 12 or a Gallo 24?
Gallo 24, obviously.
The 24.
I didn't know pizza places made motors.
Oh. So Brian agrees to do this job only if he can do it with his estranged childhood friend, Roman Pierce. Where do you think Roman is? Obviously at a car derby. The number of ways that they have pumped cars into this plot is on another level. It is so impressive, actually, that I'm truly at a loss for what on earth they do for 9 other movies. We've already been speedrunning street racing, cop car racing, monster truck-esque competitions. What else is left?
3 years in jail. 3 years in jail. Look at you, Brian.
Unfortunately, Roman distrusts Brian for not stopping his arrest back when Brian was a cop, but I wasn't too worried about their relationship because they start wrestling pretty much right away, and that's how you know boys love each other. And when I say love, I mean it. Forget her. This right here is the true love story of Fast and Furious. This is a drama for the ages. This entire movie, these boys are flirting, they are jealous of each other, they even have true confessions by sunset. Now, I do want to stress, I think that just because homeboys are close and vulnerable with each other does not necessarily mean that they have to be in a relationship. I think it's important for the boys to have emotional, close relationships of all types, but there is just something deeper here with these guys. There's just some chemistry I sense with them. I just feel like they would be great together. It really is an enemies to lovers romance that could rival the romantasy book industry. Also, all lovers' quarrels, I think, should be filmed with this type of panning camera angle. It really enhances the drama. Roman agrees to help Brian, also in exchange for clearing his record. Also thoroughly pleased to learn that Roman lives in a vehicle.
Why you think I'm parked so close to the derby?
He lives in a car. Oh, that's so fun.
Since the boys are going undercover, it only makes sense for the FBI to give them the most obnoxious cars possible. And you know what? They're so right for this. Absolutely, it would affect their job performance to not have a well-designed, ergonomic work environment.
Brian O'Connor, Roman Pierce, meet Monica Fuentes.
Monica is working undercover with Verone, and she takes the boys to go meet him. Obviously, we can't just cut to Verone's house. We have to see them drive there. This is a cardinal rule that you have to understand in the Fast and Furious universe. If we have to go to another location, it's just an excuse to film a car. And I think this is beautiful because it really is emphasizing how it's about the journey, not the destination, even if I was questioning just how much driving I was about to endure. Verone is your typical mansion-dwelling drug lord. I hated him extra for this moment.
Okay, unnecessary.
He tells all these potential drivers that whoever collects a stolen package will be the one to work for him. Where is this package? In a car. How do we get there? Drive. Just so you know, there was a total of 3 minutes between getting out of one car and back into another one. That's how much car there is in this movie. In fact, at just 30 minutes, we've spent 12 minutes in a car and another 8 minutes just looking at cars. 2/3 of this movie is cars. Perhaps it was slightly too much car for me, but what I do appreciate is that marketing did not bait and switch you. You are getting what they are selling, and I have a lot of respect for that. This second race might even be more flirtatious than the last. Again, we've got the same 2 sounds and 3 shots just continuously on a loop and aggressively loud engines. But now we've added explosions into the mix. Brian shows off by driving his car backwards, and then Roman shows off by exposing his abs. And there was literally no need to do this. So obviously, both of them are trying to just impress the other. And they have great banter. I mean, you can practically sense the tension between them.
Now put your blouse back on.
Hater.
Customs man shows up and Roman shoots him for almost blowing their cover. Rome really is the sort of bad boy trope in the romance genre. He shoots the FBI when he clearly shouldn't have. He later lights a car on fire and also steals Verone's cigar cutter. And Brian is always there just trying to keep him out of trouble. It's a very sweet dynamic. But back to this plot point, I do feel this is not entirely coherent. The customs man showed up because he bugged their cars with GPS. and he thought the boys were making a run for it, so he showed up to stop them. And I'm just like, you have an inside informant. How do you not know that these guys will be driving here? You gave them cars because you can't catch this drug lord. Of course they're going to be driving somewhere that you don't expect. If you're this untrustworthy, maybe you shouldn't be hiring criminals. At this point, you might be thinking, we've seen a lot of Fast, but when do we get to see the Fury? Don't worry, it's actually just right here.
You think you can shoot at me? I'm a goddamn federal agent! What are you talking about?
Roman thinks Monica has flipped to the dark side.
Sleeping with the enemy.
But I think he's just jealous that Brian wants her.
I seen you checking her out, man.
Okay, I wasn't. Shut up.
You shut up.
Brian is bottling up his emotions and won't speak about betraying the FBI man in the last movie. And he says this.
I said forget about it, cuz.
What? What was that?
I still don't know what this means. Watching this movie, I think, is a great introduction in how to speak millennial boy. You really just have to tag on the words bro, bruh, cuz, or man at the end of every sentence, and you're halfway there.
Come on, cuz.
What's up, man?
I'ma tell you, bruh.
I said forget about it, cuz.
The boys get the package, so Verone gives them the job, and they are to transport Verone's drug money, which is the very thing the FBI people have been hoping that the guys will do. But the boys are really annoyed with the customs man interfering with their work. So they go to Ludacris's garage to make sure the cars are, quote, copacetic. And they just start using some really big words here.
She's got the best of everything. Snap-on tools. All these lifts are brand new. They're only maybe a couple months old. I want you to check out the Eagle and the Spider and make sure everything's copacetic.
But I can do that exact same thing.
You don't understand. This is an Alaya.
And a what?
And look, Suki can draw. So she does have a little bit more of a complex personality than just looking cute. And I appreciate that. At the garage, the guys learned that there is GPS in their car. And you know GPS was the new technology for the time by how often they name drop it.
Yeah, man, they got us wired with GPS.
We're gonna have GPS on you the whole time. Just
Lima 25, follow GPS.
And how cool they make it look as if it's some sort of exclusive spy gear.
The DIS box, the engine management system, hell, the main harness. The GPS is spited into all of that.
Now, I am not a mechanic, but I'm going to say I don't think the GPS would be wired in here with this much complexity, but I guess this was before AirTags. So since the guys cannot take the GPS out of their cars for whatever reason, they go to plan B. What could that possibly be?
We need 2 more cars.
Of course we do. We're at our 3rd street race. The most interesting thing about this one is Suki's outfit, which does not get enough screen time. Brian says this.
The Hemi's putting out about 425, and the Yank will snap a speed on about 5 seconds flat.
You don't understand. This is an Alaya.
And a what?
My boys obviously win the 2 cars because they are undefeated, and the losers pose like they're doing some sort of mall family photo shoot. Later, they meet Verone at an overly bright Little Mermaid club, where all the furniture looks like shrimp and is oddly tall. At this point, I was so primed for cars that I entirely expected a car at the end of this hallway.
Swear to God, if they open a door and it's a car.
Thank goodness it was only a medieval torture device. They make a huge deal about getting a 15-minute cop-free window to transport this drug money. Verone is here to torture a detective to give it to him, only for none of this to matter at all. Nobody is suspicious of this detective. They get their 15 minutes, but then there's still a car chase. But you know, it's here for the drama. Verone as a villain, I really did expect someone with more of a presence. He isn't entirely threatening. He kind of just lights cigars. I mean, he does torture this man. So, okay, he maybe is a little evil, but he's never really that suspenseful of a threat. Even the next morning, Monica sneaks away to tell Brian that they're going to kill him after he gets the money. And I'm just not scared. I just don't believe that he's got it in him, you know? In case you were wondering where Brian lives, it is also in a vehicle.
Because tomorrow, Roberto and Enrique are going to be riding along with you.
Why don't Roberto and Enrique just drive? Why do they need these guys?
Well, actually, they do address this plot hole.
No, I can't drive.
So +1 for the writers there. Brian and Rome have a little date night by the pier at sunset. They finally are honest with each other. And I'm just like, kiss already. You know, it's the perfect moment for it. There's just sparks in the air. But it's okay. I will accept being vulnerable with each other with no romantic tension. That's fine too. But I'm just saying, The moment could have been right. It's the day of the bust. And I did not realize how big of a deal this was because the whole time it's really just this FBI man and this customs man and then the two guys talking about this drug lord in like empty warehouses. Then suddenly you've got half of the American forces out here. You've got like a SWAT team, you've got helicopters everywhere, 6 teams secretly located throughout the city.
Team 1 checking in.
Team 2 checking in.
Team 3 checking in.
Team 4.
I mean, this has escalated far beyond my expectations. I was a little bit confused though, because the cops end up chasing the boys and the FBI is at their headquarters and they're like, wait, no.
Local PD is moving in on our guys.
So the cops are acting against the FBI. And I'm just not sure how we didn't coordinate on this. I'm not sure who the event planner was. I mean, this has been a year in the works and we really should be on the same wavelength at this point. So the cops are chasing the boys and it's kind of a little bit of a scramble. But luckily, this entire time, the boys have been planning something with their garage team. Note another cute Suki outfit that only gets about 2 seconds on screen. What was this plan? They storm the cops with an army of cars coming out of this random warehouse. They also swapped the GPS tagged cars so that Suki and Ludacris are tracked and arrested. Another great Suki outfit. And then the guys get away with those 2 cars that they won before in that street race. I feel like maybe most people would find this to be very fun, chaos, adrenaline. And it was, but I also at the same time did feel like this. But I'm just a nervous driver. As Brian and Roman are escaping, we find out that they kind of planned to escape with the money and not go back to the FBI. So Roman ejects his thug out of the car and tells Brian that he's successful via walkie-talkie.
It worked, baby. Blow and go. I'm all clear.
And I'm not sure how Brian's thug doesn't overhear that and get suspicious. Because the walkie-talkie has like open sound. I mean, it's not like only Brian is hearing what Roman is saying. Meanwhile, based on a tip from Monica, customs man surrounds a private plane thinking Verone is in it. Turns out he's at a dock, ready to escape on a boat, and Verone knows Monica is a double agent. So Brian goes there suspecting Monica might be in trouble, basically to his death, but Roman comes into the rescue and they destroy the boat with the car. And then after that, they all live happily ever after. The ending did feel a little bit anticlimactic. It kind of just ends. I was expecting a drive off into the sunset, especially with how theatrical everything else felt. But all of the loose ends are tied up. The FBI gets Verone. Roman ends up trusting Monica. Monica is like, nice working with you, and then just leaves. So I guess her and Brian aren't together, which means he's single for someone else to take that slot. And actually, the way that Roman and Brian's relationship ends is kind of really wholesome. I didn't mention this before, but Roman is actually from California and they're in Miami right now. And so Roman decides that he's going to stay in Miami and they're going to open a garage together, which is so sweet. They're business partners now. How are they going to do that? Because I thought they were both broke. Turns out they both stole money when they were doing the drug run. And there were these running jokes about how Brian was so poor and Roman was so hungry, and now neither of those things will be true.
Pockets ain't empty, cuz.
And we ain't hungry no more either, bruh.
And then it just ends. Also, a little bit disappointed that I never saw this Suki outfit. She does wear this top in this scene, but I never see these pants, which is a bit disappointing. So what did we learn? Suki has the cutest car and definitely by far the best wardrobe. While I didn't learn much else about Suki, I did learn a lot about Roman and Brian. They're partners in crime, ride or die friends, and probably secret lovers. I could have done with some less objectifying camera angles, but overall, I found Too Fast, Too Furious to be an unexpectedly fun journey. I thought it was going to be just about cars, and while it is also a theatrical drama about life. And I wasn't expecting that. If you'd like to watch Too Fast, Too Furious for yourself, I highly recommend watching it on Prime to get your fun little X-ray Trivia, I learned a lot about cars this way, actually. And this is absolutely not sponsored, but if you are 18 to 24 years old, you can get a 6-month free trial for just $0. But if Prime is not your deal, I also have another little gift for you. If you're ever curious about what I use to make my videos, you can now see all of the gear that I use, my art book recommendations, and some fun little midnight accessories for your desk if you're looking for a gift for yourself or a friend, or you're just curious to see what I recommend. They're all here. Again, none of this is sponsored. It's just my recommendations, and there are some like affiliate links in here, so I might earn some commissions, which is really going to help support the channel. I hope you have a lovely night. Keep your eyes on the road. Subscribe for more, and thank you so much for watching.